Okay, so now we're live on YouTube. Before we start, I need to explain a few things about Talk and Talk, okay? So Talk and Talk is a conversation platform where you can come here and talk in any language. We have English, Spanish, Italian, French, and English, right? Which in my opinion is the most important and nicer one. Hello, Diego. Good morning. How are you today?
Hello, Gil. I'm good. What about you?
Great too. Thanks for asking.
Hello,
So,
Diego.
Hello, Ricardo.
So Diego, we're live on YouTube, okay? And when you arrived, I was explaining a few things about Talk and Talk because we need to talk with our watchers here. So basically that's it. So don't forget to look at our website and check the schedule of the immersions, either in any language. So let's start. As I was saying, today we're talking about the right age for a smartphone, okay, for children. And then let me send here the questions, just a second. Okay, 1 to 6 and 7 to 13. Just a second. Okay, there they are. So let's start. Ricardo, can we start? Do you have a smartphone? How old were you when you got your first smartphone?
Well, my daughter received a smartphone. I believe that's so soon, but I try to avoid. Well, so soon, in my opinion, because a lot of kids receive a smartphone. I don't know, 3, 4 years old. I'm not sure exactly is a real problem, but I believe that is useful. I believe it's unnecessary in my opinion. But I believe that when my child was, I believe that 9 or 8 years old, my mother gave for my daughter a smartphone, and she didn't request my opinion and just gave for my daughter a smartphone. And well, I have a smartphone, but well, actually I just buy a smartphone a lot of time after a lot of people had already receive this equipment. But because the company that I worked gave me, not gave me, but let me use because my work. So in this case, I received my first smartphone. I don't know, since the first smartphone was received in Brazil, and so because I have to use in my job, but that's it.
Perfect. So you were not a child, sorry. You were not a child when you received your first smartphone.
Yeah.
I wasn't either. I was a teenager. My parents, they told me that they didn't like children to have a smartphone. And then I received my first smartphone when I was 13 years old. All of my friends, they already had one. And I was like an old person that only watched TV because I couldn't have a smartphone. But since then, it's been this life, right? And you, Diego, do you have a smartphone? How old were you when you got your first smartphone?
Okay, I have a smartphone. I think nowadays it's almost impossible to live without it. And I think I got my first smartphone when I was 16 years old, I guess. I can't remember the exact age, but I think I was 16 years old.
Perfect. And we see the difference, right? Because, for example, we received our smartphones. We got our smartphones when we are a little bit older. Nowadays, children with when they are 4 years old, 3 years old, they already know how to put YouTube videos on tablets or to play games. It's crazy because I can't imagine myself when I was 4 years old playing games on a smartphone. I played games in my DS and meu Nintendo DS, né? And it was hard for me to understand how that works. Imagine a cell phone. So craziness. And so let's go to question number 2. In your opinion, how young is too young to have a smartphone? For Ricardo, I guess every age is young, right? Because his daughter was 10 years old when she received her smartphone. It's too young.
Sometimes I used to say, for example, parents and they think about it. Probably do you let your child keep, for example, in a bar, talk with adults, or let's some while in a bar, or I don't know, in another how do you say, complicated local? Probably not. But when you talk about the smartphones, the parents don't look any matter about it. But it's a similar situation because, well, when you are using a smartphone, it's possible to reach a lot of different situations, like what adult content, or talk with strange people. So it's possible. There are a lot of possibilities, bad possibilities. So in this case, and for the other hand, it's easier to control, to lead. Certainly, there are some kids that's so smart, and possibly you can pass these blocks that you put on your smartphone. But essentially, is, for example, you could put a password, a strong password, and the kid can't use the smartphone, and it's possible to restrict the content just using the operational system Android, or a lot of tools that is possible to use. So, for example, my kids have the same ID on a smartphone, so in this case, I could watch or see all, how do you say, use that my child. Normally, I don't check the smartphone. If I could, I know the password, and well, sometimes my my child telling about, oh, you are a dictator. Yeah. Do you you don't live in a free country? You live in my apartment. So in this case, that's it. If you want, that's the way. So, but this essentially, I never check the smartphone, and the possibly in my smartphone you could check the how do you say, the contents that she wanted.
Yeah, my mother used to say the same thing. I didn't live in a free country. I lived in her house, so I need to. But the thing is, nowadays I live in my house. I pay my bills, and she still controls where I am because we have an app. She calls it gossiper, fofoqueiro. And then she can see where I am because I am in another state, right? And then like I'm here by myself, so it's a dangerous thing. And then I can see where she is and she can see where I am, like in the map, because there's the GPS on the phone. And then that's the control that she has. But still, I don't live in a free country, but it's I guess it's more free than where I was. But when I was a child, it was the same thing. She checked everything, every password I had.
I never checked all situations like local and the content, but my child know about the possibility. So in this case, I believe that she knows what mean. If you check and the finds any, I don't know, content, any inappropriate content, the punishment will arrive in some day.
Of course, lies, they have short legs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. And you, Diego, in your opinion, how young is too young to have a smartphone?
All right. In my opinion, I think less than 10 years old is too young to have a smartphone, because with the internet, that almost every smartphone or every people have internet in their house. So with internet access, we can see a lot of things, good things and bad things too. And I think if a kid is using a smartphone without an adult, or their parents more monitor it, it's very dangerous, because we don't know the bad things that a kid could access using a smartphone with an internet connection.
Yeah, that's true. And also they have the problem. It's not only what they want to watch, but what can appear to them. For example, YouTube ads, they have no control over it. It can appear anything. Neither parents, children, they don't have control. So it can appear anything, YouTube ads or any kind of ad, right? So what they choose to watch is something, and what appears to them is other thing. Both are problems, right? That's it. So question number 3, are you addicted to your phone? Could you live without it? So an addiction, by definition, is the thing you couldn't live without. So if you couldn't live without your cell phone, you're addicted to it, even though you don't use it a lot. In my case, I am addicted. I don't use my cell phone a lot. If I check like how many hours I spend, it's not that many hours, but I can't live without it because I need it for my work, for my life, talk to my mother, talk to my father, talk to everyone. I need it. So I am addicted and I couldn't live without my cell phone. And I really like Instagram, but that's just a part. It's not the essential, but I really like. And I also like to play Cody Cross, that is a word game. And I am an old person and I like to do crosswords, que é palavras cruzadas, né? And then I use my cell phone. I am addicted to it.
Yeah, I love.
You know
and
this game?
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's healthy for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
According to some doctors and scientists, it's a kind of muscle exercise for your brain.
Mm-hmm. It's because you can remember words that you never remember, and then I really like. And also I played in English, and then for example, yesterday I forgot how to say boy in English, and then come on, I need to know boy, right? I am an English teacher. And then I remember it's ox. And then the words game, they help me a lot to remember those words that we should remember every day, but we forget. But let's see. Ricardo, are you addicted to your phone? Could you live without it?
Well, in my opinion, according to my thoughts, I believe that I use more than I should. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard to let don't use the smartphone, because the world of possibilities, any kind of information. I feel, I don't know, if you like to golfing, dolphins, or I don't know, any situation on universe, I believe that's possible to reach. But essentially, I try to avoid some situations. For example, during my job, or when I was talking to my family, I try to avoid. That's, in my opinion, is annoying when you talk to someone and this person is don't look in your eyes and just what the cell phone is. I believe that is unnecessary, at least. So, in my opinion, because you have a lot of time to use, and normally you just take a while if your friends and family, oh, just 1, 2, and a couple of hours, and oh, okay, my friend. And if you want to use the smartphone, that's okay. But I talk to you right now. So in this case, if you have some urgency, okay, we could talk later. So that's it. But certainly I commit this mistake sometimes too.
And it's becoming more common than we expected, right? Because people, every time they need to check something in their cell phones, and then it's becoming more common. I have also a problem with that when I'm talking to a person and he or she's looking at the cell phone. I think it's so boring. I am talking to the person and he or she's not paying attention to me, he's paying attention to the cell phone. And I just stop talking. I go do my things because I have other things to do and I don't have patience. So I just say, okay, you won't listen, that's fine. But I hate, and I don't do that to people. I like to pay attention. And I the time that I use my cell phone, it's always before I go into bed and when I wake up. So there are a lot of messages that I don't respond during the day because either I am working, either I'm in college. So when will I answer? So that's it. And I don't like to do this, right? If I have something more important than a cell phone, I will pay attention to that. At least I have this control, right? There are a lot of people that they don't have. What about you, Diego? Are you addicted to your phone? Could you live without it?
Yeah, I am addicted and I could live without my cell phone because there's a lot of things that I did using my cell phone. For example, bank operations, especially nowadays that in Brazil we have Pix. I think it's a lot of facility, and everything that I can pay, I use Pix to pay. For example, pay my bills, etc. With my cell phone, I never go to a lotérica anymore because I don't stay in line to pay my bills. I just pay it using my cell phone, and I use this to texting with people from my work. And in my opinion, I couldn't live without it because it bring me a lot of facilities and productivity too. But there is a good case that I'm not addicted to social medias, so it's good for me.
Yeah, social media, I guess, the biggest problem nowadays, right? But what you mentioned about banks, it's totally true because in my case, I never went to a physical bank to do something like for me. I always am with someone else. So my banks, they're all digitals. I use Nubank and only Nubank, and that's it. And I pay my bills using my cell phone. I never went to a lotérica. I never withdraw money. Eu nunca saquei dinheiro. I never made deposits because I do everything with Pix or credit cards.
Yeah.
And then even debit card, we don't need to use it anymore, right? Because everywhere you can use Pix. And then nowadays I even don't walk with my card anymore because you have the credit card on the cell phone, and also you can use Pix. And then I only use the cell phone to pay everything. and for me it's easier. And also it's a thing that I couldn't live without, right? My money, it's all in my cell phone. Crazy. Yeah, and a few years ago, nobody would imagine that, right? Because cell phones, they weren't for that.
Yeah.
So question number 4, what do you use your smartphone for the most? What do you spend the most of your time in your cell phone? Like which app? In my case, it's either Google Calendar, because I put a lot of things there and every day I'm checking what I need to do, my reminders, everything. And I also use WhatsApp a lot, right? Because I need to talk to people. But what about you, Diego? What do you use your smartphone for the most?
All right. I think there is three apps that I use the most on my cell phone. First is the WhatsApp, because I need to text with other people. And the second, I think it's Duolingo. I really like that app to practice some English. And in 30 is my app bank, because every day I watch it with options I can have to invest my money. And I think there are the 3 apps that I most use my smartphone.
Well done.
Perfect. Well done. And now I forgot to mention, but I bought an Alexa. And now I spend most part of the time that I use in my cell phone, I use the app of Alexa to see what skills she can have, because you need to put on the app of Alexa, and she's really good. And I can't mention her name a lot of times because she will recognize that I'm calling her, and I don't want to call her now. Anyway, Ricardo, what do you use your smartphone for the most?
I believe that I'm not so mature as Diego, and my cell phone is not well. I use a lot of my time WhatsApp. Certainly, I believe that's the first one, and sometimes I use the social media like Facebook or Instagram, but normally I just watch, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 posts, and after that I skip to the videos. So, but not so much. I love watching videos on short videos now in YouTube or Instagram, Facebook. But Facebook is just piece of information, normally interviews and something I love. But sometimes I waste a lot of time playing games like Code Cross and others.
But of course, it's not a waste of time, okay? You are thinking, you are
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
That's my excuse.
That's a wonderful tool, but it's possible to use a lot, and it's not so good.
Yeah.
But if you if you are a mature person, that's a wonderful tool, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. And Cody Cross is really good. I really like it. I always talk about Cody Cross. I am kind of addicted to Cody Cross. I really like Diego. You should try Cody Cross.
I try.
Nice. And try it in English. Ricardo, do you play it in English?
No, I don't know about it. I didn't know
you can
about
put there in English, and in English it's really good because they have more tools. Like, for example, if you write, it's nothing related to the topic, but okay. If you write a word and you miss like one letter is wrong, they put every letter that is correct, and you just need to correct the letter that is wrong. Like, they can check if the word is similar. And in Portuguese, they don't have that. So I really like English just because of the tools. And that's it. So let's go to question number 5. What factors should parents consider when deciding what age is appropriate for children to have a smartphone? So what they should consider when they are deciding. For example, Ricardo, he didn't consider nothing because it wasn't him, right? But for example, if you would choose the age your daughter was going to have a smartphone, what would you consider? Just a second, guys, I need to charge my computer. What would you consider to give her a cell phone? So, Ricardo.
What consider myself as? I don't know. I didn't know.
No, what factors should parents consider when
Okay.
deciding what age is appropriate for children to have a smartphone? For example, it could be maturity, it could be they don't
Okay.
lose things.
I believe that's the most important reason. That's if you have time to watch your child using this tool. Certainly, for example, smartphones is a wonderful situation, wonderful tool, or wonderful way to have fun. Sometimes you start to watching videos, and you pass a lot of time, 2 hours and or sometimes more. So in this case, it's not so indicated to children, because adults face problems to avoid this situation. So in this case, kids, it's worth. So if you, for example, you are on your free time and possible to watch the kids, it's not exactly a real problem. Okay. Now you could watch, I don't know, fun videos for children. That's okay. You are observing this kid, but I use it to observe. I use it to notice a lot of adults let the kids use the smartphone just to, okay, right now I don't enough time to watch, or I don't know, I needed to relax a little. So in this case, I put the smartphone on the hands from children's, and I could relax a lot of times. I believe that is the most common situation nowadays. And I don't know, the adults have smartphones on the hands, talking to the other people, for example, a couple, and the kids using smartphones too. But I don't know, maybe is adults could talk and watch smartphone at the same time, but kids just watching videos or others play games and something. So in this case, the people don't talking anymore nowadays. It's so sad, because it's caused a lot of problems in our society, in my opinion. It's not exactly the worst thing of the world, but it's a problem, because when you are talking with your family or friends, it's possible to observe, avoid some problems. Sometimes there is a person that this person wanted to release your feelings or thoughts, and you aren't available for this person.
That's totally true. And children, they are starting to have a problem with communication, right? Just like you said, they are not talking to people. And nowadays, you can see a lot of kids that they are like 2 years old, 3 years old, and they don't have the abilities of communication that the children that with that are at 2, 3 years old they had in the past, because nowadays they don't talk, they only watch things and that's it. And also I'd like to add something that it was kind of a joke, but it's something that really happens, because Brazilian YouTubers for children, they are becoming really popular in Portugal. And then children in Portugal, they are becoming to talk Brazilian Portuguese and not the Portuguese from Portugal. And the Portuguese people, they are really mad at Brazilian YouTubers because they are really popular in Portugal, and then their children are talking the Portuguese that is not his, because they start talking what they listen to, and they listen to like Lucas Neto all day long, so they will talk like him, right? And I don't know if you've seen it, but I saw something like that on Twitter, and then I thought it was really funny because come on, guys, it's just a language. But if we think like outside of the box, we see that's a huge problem because it's their culture, right? It's in Portugal, it's their country. They are talking a language that is not theirs. So it's a crazy thing. And for you, Diego, what factors should parents consider when deciding what age is appropriate for a child to have a smartphone?
Well, in my opinion, there are a lot of factors that parents could, I'm gonna say, consider to give a smartphone for a child. One of them is, I think the child should be a little bit responsibility to take care of the smartphone, to not broke it, because the smartphone demand money, for example, and it's not a cheap object, and sometimes. And I think another one that parents should control what a child is asking on the smartphone, with who she is talking, and to avoid the child to have some problems, because we know that there are a lot of bad people on internet just to make bad things, and when they found innocent, for example, a child, they will lost the opportunity to do bad things. I think these are a few factors that the parents should consider before giving a smartphone for a child. If I was a parent, I think about these topics before I give a smartphone for my child.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important.
Just one adding a piece of information. It's not just children is innocent, adults too, because
Yeah.
well, there are a lot of guys that how do you say, apply tricks, steal your money, and a lot of different situations. Nowadays, there are some tools that's possible to change your appearance, put the video from another person. I was watching a news about a guy used the intelligence artificial and participating to a meeting, and this meeting is among the mailer from German city. I don't remember the name, and the Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. So this guy participates, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours from this meeting, and everyone notes the difference. One of the reasons is probably anyone know the mailer from the city of the Germany, but the guy puts the another appearance using the another video and in the real time. So in this case, probably any adult could fall in this trick. So
that's true. And not
yeah.
only these tricks, but people fall for scams all the time, right? The peaks. Oh my God, the scam of the peaks. People fall for that all the time. And not children, they can be naive, né, ingênuous, but adults too. We have this technology has this problem, right? People buy things on in the internet and arrive something else. And so that's the world nowadays, right? But at least adults, they are more careful. They should be more careful, right? I guess mostly the governed people that work for politicians, right? People that work for the government, I think they should be smarter, but they aren't.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So let's
And
see.
nowadays, also nowadays it's possible to use another video, another audio, the same person, and they use, I don't know, the chat GPT, for example, to produce a text. So it's almost impossible to note some circumstances. So
No, but ChatGPT for me is the best thing because because in college I have a lot of text to write, and then I put on ChatGPT. He checks my mistakes, and then I need to put if I need to add something. I add something. ChatGPT
yeah,
helps me. First, I'm sorry guys, my cat is eating my wire.
no problem.
ChatGPT helps a lot, mostly college students, and
Yeah.
then but I guess the rest they help, right? And
Yeah.
I discovered something really nice that if you put like a description of something in ChatGPT and put like in an image generator of AI, he creates an image of a text that ChatGPT creates. So it's a craziness.
Yeah. And sometimes my daughter tell me, "Oh, so boring. I have to do a paper, a work, or something like that." No? And yeah, okay, it's so boring, so exhausted. It's needed to make the research on the internet and or request it to ChatGPT or Google make do this word and copy and paste the word, for example, and it's done. In my case, when I was a child, I have to take a bus to the another seat and taking notes directly to the book. And when I come back to my house, I have to writing a clean paper. So because it's just rascunho, I forgot the name.
Draw, não, como é que é?
Could
Não
be
é draw, não,
draft.
draft is
Yeah. So normally I have to take all day to
do one task.
do this task, and then sometimes I have to I take just 1 day to make the research and another day to write this thing. So
yeah, in my case it's a little bit different because I know I have access to technology, to those things, but I can't copy from
I thought
anywhere.
that I saw a cat.
He's here. I'm sorry, guys. I take him out and he keeps here. So I have a problem with that because I can't copy from nowhere because then it's plágio, né? And then they check. I hate my college just because of that, because I can't copy. So I need to create my own thing. But ChatGPT is not a person; it's a machine, so it's not plágio. And then it helps me a lot. So ChatGPT was the best thing because I can copy from him. I need to think and I need to explain to ChatGPT what I want, and then I do partially of the thing. It just takes less effort. So for me, it was the best thing. But when I was in school, oh my God, I copied from everywhere. Wikipedia was my best friend because there weren't this problem of plagiarism, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
For other hand, that nowadays the teachers have some tools that's possible to check this information. So
yeah, but ChatGPT is not a problem. Like my teachers, they always said, because ChatGPT is not a person, it's a robot. So no one is writing that, so it's not plagium. But they have,
okay.
but
I
they
was talking about the teacher's notes that you don't do this, and a robot do. So
yeah, there's also that, but there are some tools for that. I am a smart person. What can you do? You can put a test on ChatGPT, and then you in English. I write in ChatGPT in Portuguese, and actually I put ChatGPT in English, and then I pass to Portuguese, and then I see some words that I can change. And if my assessment is in English, I put in English back, and if it's in Portuguese, I do the opposite, because then I can change some words, and then it won't be ChatGPT that will have done that. It will be me, because I changed it to some words. Could you get it? It's a little bit confused, but
no,
that's what I do.
I
The benefits of knowing English and Portuguese. You can change words just using languages. Really good. So let's go to question number 6. How does the age at which a child receives a smartphone impact their overall development? I think it impacts a lot, because just like I mentioned, the communication problem that we have nowadays. But let's see what you think about it. Diego, how does the age at which a child receives a smartphone impacts their overall development?
All right. Well, I think it can impact with positive ways and negative ways. For example, I think with a smartphone, a child can learn English easier than a few years ago, for example. But in the bad ways, I think it's given for a child, for example, ansiedade. I don't know how to say it in
Anxiety.
English. Yeah, because for example, you are watch Instagram, and on Instagram, everyone has a perfect life, and when you compare that with your life with the other person, you could think that your life is a shirt and the other one is perfect. And I think for a kid, it could be a kind of depression, because you see, oh, the kid, that other person has a huge house with a lot of with pools, for example. Their parents have a nice car, and my family doesn't have it. And I think these are the better ways for the smartphone for a child, and it can impact their development, in my opinion, as a person, for example, because with social medias, we always are comparing our life with the older ones. And for a child, I think it's not will be different. For example, even with YouTubes, when I was younger, I compare my life with YouTubes. I always thought, oh, I would like to have that video game, and I don't have. My family don't have conditions to buy it, and wasn't good for me. And for a kid, I think it's not good too.
I totally agree with you. Even adults, they don't are mature enough to understand that, like, their life is not perfect. They have some problems. The neighbor's grass is always greener, but it's not like that, right? And even adults, they have this problem. Imagine children, right? So I guess it really can cause anxiety, depression. And nowadays, they are trying to fix the problem that they created. Instagram has this option to take out likes, like you can't see the number of likes. They're trying to fix the chaos, but it's already created. So there's no way to fix it. It's something so sad, in my opinion. And for you, Ricardo, how does the age at which a child receives a smartphone impact their overall development?
I believe that as a lot of different situations, the balance is the key. So, well, certainly, when let the kids use smartphones and others gadgets and tools, are important because certainly in the future, these kids you use these gadgets. It's important to develop some abilities, some skills that the kids you'll be using in the future. But for other hand, the usage is not good, because if you notice nowadays, and the perspective for the future is robots, softwares, and a lot of different situations, you do all kind of activities. So in this case, I believe that the some abilities like speech or personal skills maybe will become more important in the future. Nowadays it's important, but I believe that in the future it became more important, because, as I told you, I believe that all kind of situations. For example, I was watching a video early morning about well, the doctor was talking that's the probably in the not exactly on a certain age in the future. It's a reality. I believe that's in the next 5 or 10 years, just robots will do a surgery or or even a diagnosis. Certainly the robots and the softwares will diagnose any kind of disease. So in this case, the doctor's job is much more about feel your feelings, your some circumstance that is the robots and the softwares can't notice. So and there is a placebo effect. If you, for example, if you receive assistance for a robot is different from there is a research. Some people receive medicine from a gadget, and the other situation, the doctor inserts the medicine in your body. So in this case, the people that receive this medicine from doctors get more positive results from the other situation. So in this case, I believe the balance is the best way to solve this problem, in my opinion.
Of course. And I guess we're not ready for that yet. One day we will be, but we're not ready to be only like served by robots. And also, like, we have jobs also, right? So if there are robots everywhere, they will replace us. I guess in some years there won't be any more teachers. It's like I told Ricardo, no, Giovanna, I need your service. I'm glad, but I guess in a few years there won't be like Giovannas anymore. They will learn from. I don't know.
I watch a podcast, and the guy was talking that until 2030, 60-70% of the current jobs we won't exist in.
How many percent?
60-70% of the current jobs. But for the hand, the kids will work in a jobs that don't exist nowadays. So
they will be TikTokers. They will dance. They will be influencers. That's it.
Could be. But that's weird. But I don't know. he gave some examples. For example, drones deliver objects, autonomous cars drive for you, and
but it's a thing that already exists. Tesla
yeah,
is
exactly.
there.
But there are some circumstances, for example, traffic lights, or just painting streets is not necessary it's not necessary anymore in the future, because the cars, autonomous cars, don't use this information anymore. No? Is talking or communicate each other, and it's not necessary. For example, is could pass for a esquina, I don't know,
A
and
corner.
yeah, it's possible, technical, it's possible to cars driving in the past for each other, and just a while to 10 centimeters difference in each other. So it's possible to just how do you say, I don't remember the name of transponder. It's transponder in the both cars, and they communicate each other. Okay, give him a break just a while. Okay, it's communicating, it's pass difference in each other to 10 centimeters. It's so crazy. So
And any mistake can cause an accident, right? I know they're
yeah,
machines. Usually they don't make mistakes, but we don't know. Maybe one day they will.
certainly. And for example, it's possible to nowadays is a software called the Google Duo. I forgot what duplex. Yes, actually. And the guy requests a pizza for a store, and the attendant didn't note that is a robot and not a person was requesting the pizza.
How crazy. How crazy. People,
Yeah,
the world is becoming a weird place, right? But that's it. We need to adapt ourselves.
Yeah.
the guy puts two or three options. Request mozzarella, but if you have some problem, choose, I don't know, calabresa or another thing. And how about the price? The software talking to the attendant. How much time do you need to? I needed to receive this request, and a lot of different situations. And well, finally the robot got received a pizza, and the no interaction with the humans. So
But that's weird because usually when robots are saying something, they have a strange voice, right? You can see that, for example, through
yeah,
Alexa. Alexa has no, it's not a human voice. Anything Siri from my cell phone is not a human voice. Any robot that I talk to doesn't have a human voice. So I guess this robot doesn't have a human voice.
yeah,
So the person who was attending maybe was a little bit crazy.
yeah. But depends on the software, because
Yeah.
there are some software use the human voice, and you didn't know any difference. So
Yeah, maybe they get to this place right now and we can't recognize if it's human or a machine. But I haven't seen this until today, but I'll search it because I like this thing. I'll search about it. So guys, that was our